What up, guys? It's Bryan here for WAF Clan and Kika. So today I'm gonna be showing you how to make a temperature converter, and you might notice the sound is a bit louder. And yeah, it's I got a complaint that the sounds in the previous video wasn't nice, so I took it up a notch and I've changed it. Yeah, so if y'all remember, there was a class where our lecturer tried to make a temperature converter and ended up doing the plus and minus stuff. It was actually just a plus, so it turned out to be a program that just did addition. So, but this one, believe me, this one works though, so don't worry. So, yeah. Hello, I have made a temperature converter, and today we're gonna be doing this temperature converter. So at the end, this is what our program will look like. So let's start the video. Alright guys, so as usual, what we're gonna do is we'll open our Android Studio and start a new project. So I should call this converter, let's say converter tutorial. So you can see it's showing me that the application name for most apps begin with uppercase letter. Although I can continue like this, but like it says, most application names starts with uppercase letter. So I'm just gonna go with the regular way, the traditional method, and go with my uppercase. So let's say converter tutorial, and next. So now we choose the minimum SDK. You guys know I always like the kikz 4.4, so I'm not changing this. I'm just gonna leave this here. Or you can change it if you want to maybe ice cream sandwich. That's what our lecturer likes, you know, Mr. Joshua. So you can use ice cream sandwich, but me, I'm going to use kikz. And so you go next, select empty activity. Now you give your activity a name. Basically, this is the only activity we're gonna need in the whole program, so we could just call this converter and let it go that way. So it's building the Gradle and it's loading, so yeah, we just gotta wait. Okay, so it's done building, scanning, indexing, and yeah. So now we have the Java class, and we have the XML here saying hello world. So, but we need to create a temperature converter. So the first thing we need to do now is create a new class. Come here, right click, new, Java class, not activity. We're not creating an activity, we just need a class to declare some formulas, so it will be easy to call later in the Java, in the main activity class, which is the converter.java. So let's call this, let's click on the Java class, and we could call this, since this class is to convert the temperature, we could say unit converter. You can call it whatever you want. I'm just gonna call mine unit converter, and okay. So here we have the new class, and so we could type this in. We need to, since your temperature is not going to be in whole numbers and whatnot, temperature most times comes with decimals, so we're gonna call this double. So public static double. When you see double in Java, it means there's gonna be decimal, it's not gonna be whole number. So let's say the first one, Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay, and close bracket, double F. F is a variable, so yeah. And now you open your curly brackets and return, open a bracket, F minus 32, go out of the bracket, times 5 divided by 9 and close. So this formula is to convert your temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit. However, if we use just this, it's gonna exactly what that is. All it's gonna do is convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, but it's not gonna do it the other way. So let's get the formula for the Fahrenheit to Celsius. So we do the same thing. Public static double. Now we change the variable, turn it the other way. Fahrenheit to Celsius, and hold double C. Let's call this C, and C for Celsius. Okay, open your curly brackets. The same way, return 32 plus C times 9 divided by 5. So yeah, this is actually the formula to convert temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius and Celsius to Fahrenheit. So you can actually Google this and see. So yeah, I think that's it. Right now, we're done with the unit converter class. So we're just gonna close this one now. Close it, and back to the layout. Now let us design our layout. You can design it however you want, just make sure you got your text field and your radio buttons and your button. So, but you gotta be careful when putting your radio buttons, because the radio buttons have to be in a radio group. I'm going to explain that in a minute, but first let's get to the designing part first. So let's get a text view and give it a heading. That's too low. Let's take it up. Just gonna take this out and drag it back up. Drag it back here. Come on. Alright, there. So let's leave it up here and stretch and stretch. So let's increase the size. Right now it's 14 SP. Let's take it to 30 dp. And yeah, I think that's loud enough. Let's change the alignment to center. Yeah, and we could give it a text. Change the text here. Temperature converter. Alright, so it's temperature converter. Well, if you remember in the earlier video where I showed you the sample app, which I made before now, you see that the app had a blue color. The temperature converter text was blue, so we're going to change the color, and this was also bold, so we'll make this bold. And now we're going to change the color, so you can change the color from here, text color, and if I click, it's going to show me this, and I'm going to take this and click on the 3 dots. So now I come to color. You can actually use a picture if you want as the background or something, I think. Okay, no, you can't. I'm not too sure about that, but let's just stick with the color. So you pick whatever color you want, any color at all. If the color you want is not listed here, you can just Google the color for, you could check, is it color codes? Let me see. You could check for color codes. There are so many sites that gives you the color codes, and you can actually impute them here. So this is the color code for blue. This is the blue. You have your color picker here, and I'm just going to take the color picker and press OK. I'm just going to take this particular blue and OK. Here, the temperature converter text view is, let's change to blue. Oh great, Chrome is open now. Just, we could ignore it, just ignore it. Let's continue. But you can always Google for color codes, and when you get your color code, you can come to the text side here and text color, and you can replace it here. Alright, okay, so now design. Let's get back to the design. So there we had the text view, edit text, which is a text box rather. Excuse me, the text box, and 2 radio buttons and a button. So now we've gotten the text view. Let's just get an edit text. So I want this to go up a bit, so I'm just gonna drag it up, and yeah, so this looks good here. Now I'm gonna scroll. Remember, we're doing temperature, so there's no need for plain text. Plain text you can use letters and whatnot, but we just want numbers. So we have number sign, number decimal. Temperature uses decimal, so number decimal with this. Now I'm gonna pick this and drop it right here, drag it. Great. So I'm gonna give it an ID. Let's call it temp box. Temp box. Hint. So remember what I talked about hints the other time. I'm not gonna explain that again. If you don't know what hint is, check the previous video. I think it was the designing an activity video. So I'm just gonna put hint here. Enter temperature, and go style. Oh, there's no need for that, sorry, pardon. So now we have the edit text field. We have the text field now. Next up, we need the radio buttons. Now, I talked about radio group earlier. Radio group actually is a container. You see, it's under containers. So if you have so many radio buttons, and definitely not all radio buttons are going to work for the same function. You might have radio buttons for this function and radio buttons for another function. So what this radio group does is it brackets, it's like a bracket. It puts all the radio buttons that are going to work for one function into a group, just like the name says, radio group. So it's like A, B, C go here in this group because you are letters, and 1, 2, 3 go here in this group because you are numbers. So I'm going to give an example now. So this is not part of the design, but I'm just going to give an example. If I do this, where's the radio button? Yeah. Alright, so I have one radio button here and another radio button here. I can always come here and check. See, I checked that one, and I'm gonna check this one also. Both buttons are checked. Why? Because they are not in a group. But now this is part of the tutorial, so yeah, let's move back. If I put them in a group, where is it? Containers. Okay, if I put them in a group, by the way, when you drag the radio group, it's just gonna be like this. So you just make the height match parent, although we're gonna change it later. But for it to leave this full stop format, depending on your version, if you're using an older version, it just goes in automatically into the normal stuff. But this one, I don't know why it keeps coming like this. So what you do is just choose match parent for height, layout height, and match parent for layout width. So what it does is this whole area is the parent, yeah, and it takes the remaining part of the parent, the free space, and it takes all of it when you say match parent. So you see this part now is empty, it's to the end, there's no space here, there's no longer space here. Why? Because we chose match parent. But now that we've gotten this, we're just going to drag in our radio buttons now because they're in one group. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to Control Z that. We're going to drag our radio buttons now into the group, and you're going to see what I was talking about the other time. So now there's a radio button in here, and the radio button also comes in wrap content. So we're just going to change the width, or we could leave it as wrap content and easily edit this size. And I'm just going to push this up, yeah, stretch it out a bit. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So if you look at the blueprint here, it's inside the radio group, yeah. So now we'll add another one inside also, Oh, sorry. It needs to be inside the radio group. So we gotta make another radio button, drag, and I don't know why it's going like this. Let's do this. Take it back. Okay. So before I edit this, I'm just gonna put it on match parent first. Okay, match parent, and let the height be wrap content so I can edit the height. And I will drag this down. Okay. Alright. So it should be okay here. Let's try this again. It's something. What to do? Take this out. Drag radio button. And let it be there. Drag another one. Let it be here. So now we have two radio buttons in here. Now we can edit the size again, like the way we did it the other time. Both of them are wrap content. Let's make the width match parent, and yeah, we can reduce the height of this, reduce it a little bit more. Okay, do the same thing for this. Change the width to match parent so it spreads out a bit. Just come here, match parent, and yeah. So now, earlier I said this space we're gonna need to put a button, and now the radio group is taking the whole part of the screen. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the height to wrap content. What wrap content really does is it only covers the parts where there's a text, or there's where there are things in that particular container or item or palette item or whatever you want to call it. So like this now, there are radio buttons. So you see when I change the height to wrap content, it only took from here round, because this is the area taken by the items inside the container. So yeah, if you wrap content for this as well, you see wrap content for the height, it only took the height of the text inside the radio button. So now since we've done the wrap content for the radio group and we like this height, now it's time to edit the radio buttons and give them IDs. So let's put the text here for the first one: Celsius to Fahrenheit, Fahrenheit to Fahrenheit. See that change there? And let's give it an ID, so we could say C to F. Okay, and let's go to the second one and we say Fahrenheit to Celsius. All right, so now we have everything we need except for the button, and yeah, we didn't give this an ID, so we should give this an ID. So let's change this one, Fahrenheit to Celsius, so we could say F to C as the ID. Now let's pick buttons. Let's pick a button and see the button going up here. I encountered this while I was doing the test project, but what you do if this happens to you, you go to the properties compartment and scroll, view all properties, and you come to layout margin. Now you want to give it a top margin. Right now it's 63, so if we make it 250 or 220, I think I used 220 for the last one. If we use 220, it goes okay. That's too small, so we could increase it more. 250 dp, and still overlapping with the other one, so we could say 270 dp. And yeah, this looks nice. Now you can reduce this, view filter properties so it's easier for you. Change the text to convert, so you know the button is the one that converts for you. And we've changed the button, and you can actually stretch it out a bit, and there. Or say let's make this match parent. The height can stay the way it is, but the width should be match parent, and let's move the button to the middle. So we use layout margin also again, and margin left, let's give it 40 dp, and margin right under 40 dp. So now you see it's on match parent, but there's space here and there's space here because of the margin you put for the layout. Now our design is done and we have our unit converter. Now let's go to the Java coding. As usual, you need to call the things you're going to use for this. You need to call the things you're going to use for this program. So, and since we have edit text, radio button, 2 radio buttons, and a button, we're going to need all of them because that's why we put them in the first place. So yeah, we're going to need all of them. So as usual, we'll start typing again. Final. The first one is an edit text. Edit text equals edit text find view by id r.id dot 10 box was the id there. Oh yeah, I forgot to declare a variable here, so I skipped that. Temperature. So we could call this temp. Let's add e. So just in case I put temp somewhere else before, let's just add e so you like temp. So we got that one. Final radio button. Let's say cell to far. Celsius to Fahrenheit. Celsius to Fahrenheit comes first, yeah? Okay, cell to far equals radio button find view by id r.id dot c2f. Okay, final radio button again, far to cell, Fahrenheit to Celsius. It's a variable, you can use whatever you want. Radio button find view by id r.id dot f to c. Close this. Final button. I will call this con. And oh yeah, we forgot to give the button an ID, but by default the ID of the button should be button. I think it should be button, so we could try that ID dot button. But I don't think here there's no problem with this. It's gonna work, but it's better and it's gonna be easier for someone to remember if you have multiple buttons or something. So we could change this to con btn. So I'm going to change this right here, con btn. So we got that, and now we need to set an on-click listener for that button and say what is this button going to do when it is clicked. So now we're going to say con, because we gave the variable here con. As usual, con.set on-click listener, new view, new on-click listener, new on-click listener, and it's gonna create this method. Once this is done, you type in double and give a variable. Let's call it value, or I'm just gonna be selfish and call it kicker. Double kicker and new double temp, and remember we added an e, so it's going to be temp dot get text, because we want this now to get the text on the text field and carry out a particular formula. So it's going to be get text, but since this is double, we need to change it. We need to make it a string, and yeah, so we're gonna say dot to string, and we'll close this. And you go down, if Fahrenheit to Celsius dot is checked. Okay, the value, okay, we call this kikz, so we'll say kikz will be equal to, now we'll call the unit converter. Now we're going to use the unit converter. We don't have to type in the formula again. So we're going to say unit converter dot Celsius to Fahrenheit and kikz. So we can close this. Else. So now, if what we're trying to say is, if this is checked, if Fahrenheit to Celsius is checked. Oh, sorry, I put the Celsius to Fahrenheit. It should be Fahrenheit to Celsius. I think, yeah. Fahrenheit to Celsius. Sorry, this is dot Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay. Okay. Inside kikz. So what we're trying to say is, if this is checked, if Fahrenheit to Celsius radio button, which is this one, is checked, we want it to carry out the formula in this method, which is this one, right? Fahrenheit to Celsius, we want it to carry out this one. So what happens here is, else kikz equal to unit converter dot, now we'll call the other formula. If this one is not checked, if the Fahrenheit to Celsius is not checked, this is what is going to happen. Now it carries out the other formula, Celsius to Fahrenheit, kikz, and close. But how are we going to get our answer when it is converted? We're still going to use the same text field we used before, so we're going to call it again temp dot, but this time we're going to use dot set text, not get, because we want it to automate a text, and since we're not the one putting the text in there, it's not going to be get text, but the program is going to automatically put the text in there depending on your actual input. So we're going to say set text new double and call kikz dot to string. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the program. I'm gonna run it, and I think on the design I should add something else so you can see it's a different program entirely from that one. Oh, so I just shifted that by mistake again. What is it? Margin top 280 dp. Okay, so just so you can see it's a different program entirely, I'm just gonna add something else. Say let's add a rating bar. It's not gonna do anything, I'm not doing any coding with it, it's just there to like to separate from the first one. Okay, so yeah, this is our program. Now I'm gonna run it on my mobile phone, and okay, all right, so yeah, we can see the program here, but the button is covering the Celsius to Fahrenheit field, although we can still click it. You can see we can still click. So we're gonna run that. We can edit that later, like you can go back to the program and edit it, but let's test out the program. So if you're like usually using a car and a house AC, you should notice by now, in the car the highest is 65. Most cars, the highest temperature, or the lowest rather, is 65, and at home is probably 18, 17, 16, depending on your brand of aircon. So let's try that and see. So we're using the Celsius to Fahrenheit box, and so let's try 16 and convert. Why is it saying minus Fahrenheit to Celsius? Let's see. 16 convert. Oh, I think I missed this. I turned it upside down. I'm just gonna change this real quick. Alright, so I'm just gonna use the opportunity to move this one down a bit. 350 dB. Move down a lot lower. Hopefully it's not gonna cover it again. And come back to the converter. We're gonna have to switch this. We're gonna switch this one with this. So Fahrenheit to Celsius. If it's checked, it should carry out this one. Wait. If Fahrenheit to Celsius is checked, it should carry out this Celsius to Fahrenheit, and if it's the other way around, oh sorry, my laptop battery is warning me right now, I gotta plug this in real quick. Alright, and if it's the other way around, we could say Fahrenheit to Celsius. So now when we click, it's gonna show the other way. Okay, so unit converter, Celsius to Fahrenheit, return F, blah 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 blah, and run. So the grady is building here. This works. So now if I type 16 and we say Celsius to Fahrenheit and we say done, convert, it goes 60.8 degrees. And we can say Fahrenheit to Celsius. If we say 65, it's 18.3. So like the example I was giving earlier where I said your home AC and whatnot, so 18 is actually 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, make sure to ask me in the comment box or send me a message on Facebook, WhatsApp, Snapchat, wherever. You can just hit me up and I'm gonna answer as soon as I can. And yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you give this video a like and leave some comments down below and subscribe to the channel.
What? Tots all of my dollar. Yeah. Tots all of my dollar. Yeah. Tots all of my dollar. I ain't blowing off of my cola. What? Work hard and get paid. I got dollars out of my penny. Hustle hard in this game. We ain't got time to be slacking. We be blowing smoke like moolah. Tots all of my dollar. Every day we just ballin'. Tryna get it.